We're making sword swipe basses. Grab the sword, make the bass. Something fast, something punchy. I made a whole project. It will be in the Patreon if you guys want it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and listen first to what we got going on here. We got to see exactly how everything's moving, flowing. Dynamics wise, there's some pitch bend going on. Lots of different techniques that we're using to get this swipier type of bass. So let's check out this first one. This is in half rate. And then we have this stack here. Individual. Low and a high. Then we have a sustain that we made out of like the similar patch. We also resampled this main lead without the pitch bend. Sounds like this. We also shortened it, faded it to make a little bit of a unique type of sound. Some are faded more and chopped more than others, as you see here. This is just helping with the flow. You can go ahead and check these out together now. Then, of course, the sub is changing from a sustain like this to quarter note like this. Two subs with two different rates. Right when the snare hits, the long bass starts and the sustain starts. And these are just holding it down on the down beats. And these are kind of like, not exactly on the off beats, but at different timings so that I can give it some groove. Very nice. Try to listen to that. So that's all how it's coming together. But let's go ahead and look at this first one that I made. Just to make it loud, first off, add a multiband dynamics. You can compress a little bit, turn up the inputs and the amounts at 29. Those are the main things I changed. The ratios here, pay attention to. Saturator, 8 dB of drive. OTT is on with 9 dB of output and 48% dry wet. That's the only thing I changed. EQ8's cutting the lows at 116. We're adding more saturation at 4 dB drive, but we're blending in the signal. 64% dry wet. Dispersers here, it's adding some oomph to the lows. The root note is D, so that's why it's on D. Amount is halfway, pinch is a little bit below halfway, so it's not too overpowering. We have reverb, and this is 50% convolution mode. We're just leaving it on 20 seconds decay. And early reflections. Listen to how the reverb makes a difference here. Makes it wide. And puts it in a nice space. Metallic-y vibes too. One thing that we're going to go over here is the pitch bend. It's really important to help make the sound move. I want you to listen, for example, with the pitch bend off. So that's kind of the sound that you're going to be making. And then we add even more movement with the pitch bend. It's like almost throwing the pitch. That's really important. And you see we have different values here. So this is like at 2.3 and this one's at like 7.3. So we have different tones due to the pitch too to make different variations of the bass. That's 1. This is 2. Higher pitch. Usually I'll just go back and forth between two different. So like low, high, low, high, low, high, until it gets to the point where I need to change it. If it starts to sound repetitive, I'll just slightly change it throughout the track. If you look here, these ones have pitch bend too, which we'll be going over. Cool. So let's go ahead and listen to this with the pitch bend off. So I'm going to turn off the processing so you see the difference. So this is what we're going to be making essentially. Click on LFO1 so we can see all the movement that's going on. These two oscillators are our main sounds. The LFO going on the level is really important. So we put the LFO on the level knob, make sure to turn the knob all the way down. The LFO amount goes all the way up. Do that for both. And this is how we are bringing in the sound. And this LFO is going to be on this shape. Real long attack. Move this curve down. And make it curve down. I added a little bit of silence right here too as well. With an extra dot. Pulled it down. It's on 1/4 rate. So this is making it whip. If we change it, for example, it's a completely different sound. So this is real important to get it whippy, like some whipped cream. We are playing C3, the note, or D3, I should say. And then on the octaves here, we're turning them down. Oscillator A, -3, oscillator B, -2. And with the pitches, having a good time blending these two together. And this is just a default saw. We're bringing in squelchy 2 and spectral right here. And then we're going to be able to have a lot of different basses with this wavetable position. It's at 153 now. So we've got this tone. But let's say we wanted to change it. You would simply scrub this along, get any different position. And it's up to you to find a spot that you like. It's up to your taste. You can, kind of go by frequency, highs, mids, lows. Try to pick a point that you like. And remember earlier, I layered a high pitch and a low pitch. So sometimes you'll make two different patches, maybe change this wavetable position a little bit and have two playing at the same time, a high pitch and a low pitch to make it bigger and full. The filter is doing a lot. So it's on MG low 12. So you see, we're like going all the way down on the cutoff, putting the LFO on the cutoff, going up 97. We're also whipping it with the filter. Resonance is turned up 48%. We have some effects here. Distortion, compression, EQ, filter. He's going to be doing a lot here. I'm going to turn these off so you can hear what it sounds like off. So when you're first making a sound, you're going to have a little sound like this. Something a little small and tiny. But remember, just focusing on the frequency. Add some distortion, tube, drives at 35%, the boomy, and then compression, multiband gains up at 10 dB. Threshold is down at -11. Really getting it beefier, right? Pulling up all these frequencies, making it louder. We had the EQ8, we're doing the same technique with the filter. So we're taming the frequencies that we just got. We got too loud. Now we're turning it down. Frequency goes at 48 Hertz, put the LFO on it, and it goes all the way up. Make sure you're on this high cut. It's doing the same thing. So we're not letting in too much of these high frequencies. We control exactly how much comes in. Lastly, you add the filtration system or comb filter. This is going to add a little tail because the cutoff is so low at 19 Hertz to the left. Resonance is up 46%. Drive makes it a little bit louder, so we're putting the LFO on this. It's at 8%, and then we go up on the LFO to 25. So before, after. This is doing a lot to the sound. It's almost the sound. Make it whippy, make it low pitch, make it nice, deep. Then we add the sick filter. Obviously, you can change this cutoff. Right, it's at 19 now. It's adding a tail. If we move it over here, it gets a little bit tighter. A lot tighter. Usually this range is good. Oh, up here is kind of weird sometimes. Usually this is a sweet spot range, and I went all the way down this time to 19. That's the first patch. It sounds cool enough, right? But it's not. Then we add all that extra processing that I just showed you earlier to get it big, loud, and proud. Say what? That's some compressiones and some saturation bolognese. Fun time, fun time. It's on the downbeat right here on the snare, and then it goes to the offbeats, which are the 0.2s or the 0.4s. This is on the 0.2s. So the main lead is this one. Then it goes to the one I just showed you. Once again, remember, we have the pitch bend doing work. Don't forget, you're going to have it without pitch bend at first. But then we want to add some pitch bend. So Serum, turn up the pitch bend ranges to 12 each. Hit configure, click on this pitch bend knob, and it will show up here. Click configure again, then you can automate this triangle. So simply and unconditionally, you can right click this, show automation, or just click it and look at the line up here. And you see the original pitch is around 0. So we're like going down to 4.6 and then going up to 2. So the original pitch is somewhere around here. We're just like zooming up past it a little bit and then going back down. That's the movement we have here with the pitch. So original. That's like higher pitch. And then this gets lower pitch. Easy pitch bend. Remember, you can change the pitch bends to low, high. Now the lead. We're doing the same techniques here, but this time what we want to do is group the basses and the sub together, and we want to add a G clip so we can turn it up and kind of push the sounds together. And then we also have saturation happening on just the low frequencies from 175 hertz and below. And the high frequencies, which is 175 hertz cut here. And then we have a nice high shelf, turning up the highs. So we have two different chains here, splitting the frequencies. Then you go to G clip, which is clipping the sound to 0, but then we're also turning it up 2.6. We're kind of clipping the sounds together. We can go ahead and turn these off so you can listen to what it sounds like regular. Then turn it on. So this is like the final processing. This one's really important. Turn it off for now. Main lead is a high layer and a low layer. This group right here is separate from the subs. If the subs, these two, were in this lead group, it would be affected by this EQ8, which is cutting the lows. So that's why this lead group, all these basses are grouped together so that we can cut all the lows here at 108 so that it can blend with these two sub basses down here, which are within that basses group that I just showed you that's being clipped, which are being pushed together, glued together, clipped together, you know what I'm saying? Getting it done. So that's the main technique that we're doing here to get it beefy and loud. And then we look at the patches. So high frequency, multiband dynamics, saturator, hybrid reverb, EQ8, G clip. So similar processing. Multiband dynamics is 29%, so it's not going too loud. Same settings here. Saturator, 8 dB of gain. Hybrid reverb is different now. It's a short decay. We don't have the long 20 seconds this time. It's short 340 milliseconds. This reverb is a huge thing. It's at 50% dry wet, but if you move the convolution IR, for example, you can get lots of different sounds easily. And you can mess with the decay accordingly, but I landed on deep stone that I like. Move the decay to make it shorter and tighter. Then you have a nice reverb. Remember, there's pitch bend going on as well. I want you guys to listen to one without the pitch bend. That's regular. This is pitch bend. It's subtle, but it's adding movement. It's important. Pitch bend's at 197, and then 4.66 is where it starts. So it goes pitch down to up, back down. So G clip, it's at 0. Usually these are just clipping it at 0, stopping the signal from going past 0. Not really turning it up because we have that other G clip that I just showed you. We're turning off the processing. Then we'll be able to hear the original. So this is extremely similar to the other patch. It's basically the same exact thing, but we're just changing oscillator B and we're changing the effects. The only effects that we're changing is the filter, and the only oscillator we're changing is oscillator B, and the wavetable position will modify as well, because these are the tones, these are the different sounds available that we can mess with. So we just put the wavetable position on 67, LFO1 goes on it, up 16, then it's on monster 7, -2. Filter's the same, oscillator A is the same, it's on 1/4 rate, same shape. Pitch bend at the bottom left is the same. All these first 3 effects are the same until we get to filter. So it's not combs anymore, it's flanges minus. Cutoff's at 333, LFO's on it going up 9. Resonance is up, giving it more effect, 44%. Drive is up, pumping it at 39%. And that's the patch right there. Simple. So you hear it's like more deep. But we saw some high frequencies. And then this is the pitch bend version. It's a little bit higher. We can exit out of this. Go ahead and turn that processing on that I just showed you. And you hear that reverb's doing heavy lifting. Turn the reverb off. Bringing it in this space, the metallic space with the convolution turned on here. Hybrid reverb. Makes a huge difference. And this one's drowned at 50%. You know, there's a lot of reverb in here. And to taste, you can turn this down if you want to. We do have 2 patches with that reverb, so it's up to you how much space you want to add. You just want to make sure you don't drown it out too much, because if it gets too stereo and we lose that mono signal, things can get funky. Just be aware of it. Find a nice balance with the stereo image. So then now we can look at the low frequency version. So this is high. This is low. If you see, we basically duplicated swipe 1 high to make swipe 2 low. But on swipe 2 low, we're adding more odd harmonics with distortion. So overdrive is on at 27%. Amp has been thrown on at 28% on blues. Before the saturator, that's at 8 dB. That's going to give it more distortion. Pitch bend 4.66 up to 1.61, 3.76. So it's a little bit different. Nice. So let's look at the patch. Look at the differences. This time we're on monster 9. We're just changing the wavetable, changing the wavetable positions at 111. LFO is going up 16 here. And you see we're making very minor changes just to get a different sound. Flange minus is still the same. All the effects are the same. We're just changing to monster 9. Gives it a deeper tone. I was searching for a deeper frequency, so I was clicking through these arrows, looking through wavetables, moving the wavetable position, and trying to find a tone that sounds deeper and darker than the original. That was the goal. Very easy. You see, we just added 2 extra effects. These are both turned down -3. Remember, they're grouped together with the EQ8, and then the basses group will turn on to get that final push. So before, after. And that's what you're hearing in the full mix. And then we blend it with the sub. So when the sub is included, it's being pushed with edgy clip. And this sub is going to be Serum, analog BD sign, turned all the way up on wavetable position. LFO is on the level, going all the way up. This is our shape on a quarter note. There's no effects. All we do is add the kick tight to make the sub fat. Tune it as well to our root note, which is definitely recommended. So we're going to go ahead and tune this to D0. EQ8, doing a low pass at 175. We're adding more harmonics, even harmonics with saturator. 10 dB, soft clip on. But we're blending it in here, so it's 35%, and we're turning the output down to -9. Tube warmth, adding more saturation with Camel Crusher. Fab filter, 175 cut. So this is another low pass. And then the erosion, adding some white noise on top. Without. width. Very simple sub. Remember, this one is the quarter note. This one is the sustained, which we just literally just changed the shape. So LFO 2 is on envelope, 2 bars. We just got to go and blast it all the way to the top right to get that sustained sub. Easy enough. And that matches with the sussy. So this sussy is going to be made with this auto pan. That's regular, but the auto pan makes it wiggle. It's on 124, some triplets. Phase is turned all the way down to 2.86. Offset's at 180. Shape's at 0. Mat's at 100. It's on normal too. So that's doing a lot. We're also EQ. We're removing so much frequencies, cutting at 639 so that it blends in with everything else playing, because the frequency spectrum is basically already full at this point. To make it loud, we do the multiband dynamics and the saturation, the common tools, check the amount at 29, check the dry wet at 62, and check the drive at 9. That's the post-processing, and then this is just basically the same patch, but we change oscillator B to odd pass, wavetable positions at 135, LFO is going up 16, and then the LFO shape has changed a lot, so we ramp up and then go full blast. It's on envelope, so that it just, boom, continues to go full blast. But then we turn sync no window on to introduce some higher pitch frequencies. We add the LFO to the sync. The sync's at 1%. Then we turn the LFO up 20. You bypass this, you can kind of... So low pitch. So these high pitches are really important. Sync is helping a lot there. Wavetable position, remember, you just move it around, find a place that you like. Octave -2, oscillator A is the same. All these effects are the same as the patches we just went over. So you see we're using the same patches to make lots of different sounds. And it's easy with the oscillators. It's real fun. It's a real fun time. The samples up here are just this lead, basically resampled. So if you get these two, I'll show you how to do this. You make a new audio track, hit Command T. So you click on the group, hit Command T to make the audio track, put it on resampling, and hit the record arm button to the right. Then I'm going to remove this pitch bin because I don't want to record it. And then we just click on where we want to start recording, which is here, and hit record. Remember, this is soloed here, this group, so we're only going to hear these right here. Hit record now. Then it records here. And then with this sound is basically this up here. But what we'll do is just cut it. And you'll also fade the audio sample like this. And that's how we have these little chops. Fade in, fade out. Longer clip, fade in, fade out. That's just so we can control dynamics, control some flow. It's very nice. You get different basses like this. Cutting the lows too, just at 100. All together. Now this section here, we'll just start speeding it up. So here it's like more bouncy, more silence and stuff. Kind of like a different awkward flow, but then we just get into regular quarter note flow. It speeds up here. So that happens halfway through the drop. And I'll change up the hats to make them go faster. Everything just starts to change a little bit, and we introduce some white noise. This noise generator. Now these vocals that I recorded is just me. I'll pitch myself down using Little Altar Boy. Fire. Little Altar Boy will pitch me down a lot. And then I add a lot of cool effects and stuff. So, you know, this vocal chain will be in the project as well. If you want to get that, that'll be in the Patreon. But if you guys have any questions, man, just let me know. This is a fun time. Go ahead and put in the comments if you want me to make any other tutorials that interest you. You always know I have a huge list. I'm going to knock out all these requested ideas for you guys. Don't forget to comment on the video, subscribe if you're new, and keep it real, man. Keep producing and keep going hard. Peace out.
I'll give you the one. Face it, boy. You know that I got that clock. She had Chanel and I gave her $2.